just a little update. Started wrapping the vinyl. This is the driver's door. I did the passenger door earlier, but it's getting redone because glue didn't hold. But this time, as you can see, glue held everywhere. The only part is right here and little bubbles here. But good enough. The fix for that would be is I could use like a 1/16 inch drill bit, drill in behind it from behind, do it real slowly so you don't come through the vinyl, and then squirt super glue inside and then push it, and it will take care of that. Just a trick for you guys. But as you can see, that's the only spot through the whole thing that didn't turn out good. We got a little bit down here, but that will actually, I think, set up perfectly down here because the glue was a little wet yet. So, and it is actually holding now. It's pretty decent, but again, this is somewhere you don't see. I do have one bad wrinkle. I don't know if it shows up down here, but again, you won't see it. So I could have fixed it. I just decided not to because you don't see it, and I'm just not gonna go through all that. But all I have left is I gotta just cut out for the speakers, mount the speakers back in. But so that means I redid both A-pillars because the glue wasn't holding 100% on them. They didn't look bad, but I figured, screw it, they're not hard to do, so I redid it. And like I said, I will be doing the passenger side door, redoing it, because, you know, that is totally nothing. It's not holding at all. So, you know, but now everything seems to be holding. Good. Like I said, just this one spot here that will not hold. And I probably will fix it later with the super glue trick. So, there's the A-pillar. And this time, like before, it turned out flawless too, but this time it's definitely sticking. I learned what I was doing wrong with gluing it. You definitely, I know some guys say you can brush it on no problem, but yeah, when I brushed it on, it just left loose. But now I'm spraying it on, and yes, it works great when you spray it on. So after wrapping, side pieces were a little more of a pain in the ass than I thought they were going to be, but okay, so I took a little time off from this project. Did a couple other things, but back onto it. I'm going to be building the sub box today. Here's my crude measurements. It's basically gonna look something like that when I'm done. It'll be 1.1 cubic feet for each of the subwoofers. Here's all the wood. It's cut down small enough that I can fit it in my kid's car to bring it home. My oldest just bought a car, hatchback, so I was able to, you know, my brother picked it up, got it to his place, and then we cut it down. But that's actually what I've been doing here lately is my brother's house burnt down this winter, and we're rebuilding right now. So here we have it. Everything's cut, dadoed, ready to go. See, it's just sitting together, so that's what all the gaps are about. So all that's left to do now is to glue, clamp, and then screw everything. Well, here we have it. I have it dry, fit it together right now. You see everything is dadoed in. Even the top piece here, the face I should say, that's going to be, excuse me, that's going to be dadoed, that's all dadoed in also. Everything is just temporarily screwed together yet. I do not have it glued because I want to test fit the box before I go ahead and glue it. I'll have a video of that so you'll understand why I want to test fit it to make sure. Oh, excuse me. But I have everything screwed together here. I'm using 2-inch drywall screws. Before I screwed it, everything gets drilled, and then I use the countersink bit here, so that way your screw heads are definitely below the surface. Okay, here we have, I'm test fitting, and the reason I'm test fitting is because these metal braces that go up the side here, both sides. I'm going to have the box sitting back about 1.5 inches, so that way when the woofers fire, the excursion don't hit the back of the seats. Yeah, it's not good on the speaker at all, and also, you know, of course, it's going to distort the sound. So what I'm going to do is probably pad this out with 2x4s, something in that line, and then I'm going to put a 1/4 inch across the front, which I'll carpet then, and I'll replace this carpeting. You know, it's probably all going to go black back here, and then I'm going to do the black on the back there. I don't know if I'm going to get rid of the speaker, the factory speaker grills or not. Probably will, and I'll probably lose the middle seat belt. Just take that off. Unfortunately, it's going to have that on the back of the seat, and you know, unless I decide to have the rear seats redone. Okay, I got the holes cut out. As you can see, again, use a circle jig with the router, makes perfect holes. Now it's time to run the speaker wire. It's 8 gauge. Well, I have it wired, as you can see. I'll tell you a little more about this here. Is that what I did was drill holes. These aren't the size bolts I use. They are 1/4 inch, but these are shorter bolts. Now what I did was, I don't have any extra laying around, but 2 washers here, wire in between, put it through the back of the box, another washer, a nut, draw it down tight. Now, best way to do it would be is to solder the wire to the end here. That's one way to do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some eye terminals, ring terminals for the end of the wires in the back there, and to hook up to it. So I got to go in and order some. So for now, I'm just pinching the wire in between. Okay, and then what you do is you come to the back here. As you can see, you'll have some laying out in the back. This is how it would be after it's tightened down. Now, put a washer, then would be your wire, another washer, and the nut. Now, you can get some wing nuts, so it's easier to come on and off by hand without tools. Okay, got the wire run. As you can see, for the back, this is to go to the amp. I will cut it when I get out to the car, see how long I need them. Now the 8 gauge wire for 1,000 watts going into them, and yes, they are. And let's see, 8 gauge. Is it kind of overkill for 1,000 watts, because that's all they're getting a piece. But it is true that you do lose wattage through speaker wire. Longer the run, the thinner the wire, the more you lose. So that's why I'm going with 8 gauge, is because I can. So why not? In all actuality, 10 gauge would have been plenty for this. I even have 10 gauge upstairs. It's for the kids' system. For his subs, which he's only putting, you know, 250 watts a piece into them, little 8s for his car. And I could have used that, but like I said, I can use this, so might as well. The heavier wire, the less you drop in wattage. And that goes for any speakers. You know, that's one thing I wish I would have done on this car. All the mids and highs are run off of Rockford's 16 gauge speaker wire, which, you know, Rockford makes good wire and everything, but if I could do it over again, I would have been running 12 gauge up. because of the wattage drop. I wish, you know, here's a good one for Steve Mead to try with his bench, or his amp bench machine there, is to, instead of hook up all the amp, and then at the end of like a 20-foot speaker wire run, so that way he can show, you know, the actual, how much you actually lose. That would be a good thing for him. Maybe I ought to send him a message to try that, because I'd be very interested to see what the real world wattage is that you lose. Here we have them in. I said they have to be mounted back so they're not hitting the back of the seats, but I figure for a little bit of a treat here, Now, I know for all you SPL guys, you're like, ah, that ain't nothing. Well, this is not an SPL car, this is a sound quality car. And by the way, that was at about 10.5 volts out of the AC running, and I didn't bring it off idle. But, yeah, I don't think it's too bad for being a, you know, just for sound quality. It's not set up to be loud, but, well, be a lot of bass, I should say. But here's what we got here with the wires run. So I'm going to put the false wall in for now, just for appearance sake. Slide that back a little bit and call it a day. Now here it is with the false wall in. Everything's all dirty right now, but it's cleaned up. But I still got to get the vinyl for the false wall. But that's how it's going to look when you open up the trunk. Somewhat. I still got a little more work to do on the false wall. The holes over there are going to be closed in a little more. But once it's wrapped, it'll look really good. But there it is.